Men, have you ever told yourself that you were going to do something, and then when the time came around to do it, you had a thought that came up that kind of made you pause, or you just weren't really feeling it, not really motivated? Uh, Other distractions came up that were just more interesting at the time, and you ended up avoiding the thing. There are three things at play here: you have your thoughts, you have your feelings, and you have your actions. All three of these things can play off of each other. Like our feelings can pop up and they can lead us to have certain thoughts. Our thoughts can lead us to certain actions. Performing those actions might cause us to feel a certain way, and around it goes. And if we repeat that cycle enough times, it can turn into a belief system. When people are trying to get motivated to do something, they're trying to align their feelings with the actions. If the feeling is high, high motivation, then I will do the thing. Then there's aligning your thoughts with your actions, which is like the hardcore discipline side of I'm going to force myself to do it. I don't feel like doing it, but I'm going to force myself because of my sheer willpower. Here's an interesting thing though: our thoughts, feelings, and actions don't actually have to be aligned with each other for us to take a certain action. For instance, I might not feel like sitting down and writing out thoughts that I want to share in a video. I could feel tired, anxious, maybe a little nervous of what could happen if I say something that rubs somebody the wrong way. I can have thoughts come up that say, I really don't want to do this. It really is possible, though, to feel those feelings, to hear those thoughts, and still sit down and do some writing. Not because I'm forcing myself to, not out of grit or determination, but because it's a plan that I put in place and it's just sitting down and writing thoughts. There are a lot of things that we avoid because we've blown them out of proportion in our own mind. What I mean by that is we tell ourselves that the stars have to align, or I have to force myself to do this thing like it's a major hurdle, when a lot of the times it could just be I'm going to do a couple push ups. I'm going to sit down and journal. The amazing thing is, if we get really good at decoupling thoughts, feelings, and actions, and we just choose to take the actions because it trends us towards the person that we want to become, then over time, the thoughts and the feelings will start to conform to the evidence that the actions are providing. It might be difficult right now to convince yourself that you are creative or that you are athletic or that you are whatever it is that you're trying to be. But if you repeated actions towards that every single day for months on end, it's going to be a lot easier to tell yourself, oh, I am that. So if there's something that you really want to do, you want to get better at, somebody that you want to become, start doing the actions towards becoming that person consistently, regularly, and watch what happens to your mindset and your beliefs. It's going to feel uncomfortable up front because subconsciously, inherently, the actions are working against how you perceive yourself. When you start to experience that discomfort, that anxiety, that, I don't know if this feels right, that's how you know that you're on the right track. Because the new identity, the new truth of who and what you are is now in your subconscious and creating conflict with the existing truth. The ultimate key to growing is to hold two opposing truths at the same time, and then to choose the truth that you want to move towards. I'm not a great writer or storyteller, but I can write and I can tell stories. So inherently, I am a writer and a storyteller. And if I do it enough times, I will become better. So let me ask you this. If you could pretend that you didn't have emotional baggage, hesitation, whatever, and a whole bunch of mental red tape around doing what you've always told yourself that you would do, could you get started on it today? Try it out and prove to yourself that action can happen regardless of your thoughts and feelings.